Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We're going to do the mimer of the second day of Shavuos from 40 years ago. We're just coming now from the festival of Shavuos, and it's coming Shabbos. It's also still within the days of what's called Tashlumim, the days that you can, in the time of the temple, they can still bring the offering of Shavuos. We're in the aura of Shavuos. And in the season of Shavuos, the Rebbe really said 4 mamorim, and we'll try to go over them. So next week, God willing, we'll do Koyse Vorachu, Bili Neder, and the Usfartem we'll try to record also, although we did that, of course, on on Shabbos. We'll redo that. So the Maimer begins with Tze'ena, Ure'ena, Bnos, Tzion, B'melech Shleim, B'ator, Shrit Le'im, B'yem Chasonos, B'yem Simchas Libay. Song of Songs, it says, go out and see daughters of Zion, King Shlomo, the crown that his mother crowned him on the day of his wedding, on the day of the rejoicing of his heart. It's chapter 3:11. Verse 11. The Medrash comments on this, and as does the Rashi. And this Medrash is brought in the Mamorim of the Rabbeim. Adla Dibra Masal Tze'ena Ure'ena Tovshin Ches L'Nesiderenu Chak V'Chadmur. All the Rabbeim through the Rebbe's Rebbe, the previous Rebbe. Amar Rabbi Yechanan Shol Rashbi Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai asked Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Yasi. Rabbi Yechanan says that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai asked Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Yasi, after Shemaitami Avicha Ma'u Bator Shit Le'imei, maybe you heard from your father something about what does this mean on the crown that his mother crowned him. So Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is asking Rabbi Elazar about maybe Rabbi Yossi said something about this. Amalei. So Rabbi Elazar said, yes, indeed I have. Amalei, what did he say? Amalei. So Rabbi Elazar answers, it's like a parable. The Melech Shahoy Bas Yechida was a king that had an only daughter. He loved her so much. He endeared her way beyond. He loved her so much, and he called her my daughter. He loved her so much. It's an interesting medrash, and many more bring it, and we see that Klal Yisrael is referred to these different relationships that a person has with the females in his life. So he loved them so much. He loved his daughter so much. He called her you're my sister. Right? And he also called her, he didn't move from loving her as such till he also called her my mother. It doesn't say it here, but elsewhere also we see that we're referred to also as Rayasi, the spouse. So also the Holy One, blessed be He, loves more than beyond to Israel, and He calls them my daughter, etc. And He doesn't move from that way, and He loves them also more, and He calls them my sister. And then He calls them my mother. So the Jewish people are also called Imi, my mother. God calls us His mother. This is what it means when it says, go out and see the daughters of Zion. King Solomon, but Shlomo also means Melech Shahasholem Shaloi. When it says Shlomo, there's a Gemara, I think in Shavuos, that says that when it says Shlomo, in the Song of Songs, it's a reference to God, because it means the king, Melech Shalom Shaloi. This is the king that the that the peace is his. So shaloi moi, his peace. So go out and see the daughters of Zion and the king Shloimoi, the king Melech Shalom Shaloi, the king that peace is his. Zeh HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is the Holy One, blessed be He. On the reference on the bottom, by the way, just for housekeeping, we're using the version of the Maimer that's in the Teres Menachem Sefer Memor Moedim Shavuos, not the one in the regular Hisva Aduyes. It's the new in the new set, but it's of course the same Maimer, and you can follow along. But anyway, here in the footnote it says it brings the Medrash, but it's also of course a Gemara around Daf Lamed Hey or so. Ba'Torah she'iter eloi imoi. So go out and see the daughters of Zion, King Solomon, in the crown that his mother crowned him. Who's his mother who crowned him? If Shlomo is a reference here to God, who crowned God? Zuhi Knesset, his mother. Zuhi Knesset Yisrael. This is the gathering of Israelites, the Jewish people. They crowned the Holy One, blessed be He, with a crown. So the Jewish people crowned God. And in the Mamorim of the Rebbeim, they deduce from this that tzorich lahavin, we have to understand something about this. Sharei Omer Razal, the sages teach us, and we have this in the previous Maimer that we recorded here. And again, I apologize for the technical difficulties there and how it was uploaded, etc. Sharei Omer Razal, Shosh Hekdimu Yisrael Nasel Nishmer Bo. The Samach Reish means Shishim Ribui, Samach Ribui. That at the time that the Jewish people proceeded to say, we will do before we will hear, 600,000 Shel Malachi Ashoris, angels of service, came. L'chol echad ve'echad miYisrael, to each and every individual Israelite, v'kosher shnei ksarim, and kosher literally means tied, but it also means to bond two crowns, commotion is barely able to be maskal b'shoshek dimu, like we learned in the previous mimer of b'shoshek dimu. That means at the time of the giving of the Torah, the Jewish people were crowned with two crowns. Now this medrash that we're learning now, it comes out that during the giving of the Torah, the day of the wedding, his wedding, which is the giving of the Torah, Israelites crowned God. So what happened here? Did we get two crowns? Did God get a crown? What's going on here? The explanation is the Shnei Mamas. Of course, they're both true. At the time of the giving of the Torah, the Israelites crowned, and adorned and crowned the Holy One, blessed be He, with a crown. And they also merited for themselves to get two crowns. Here's another medrash. Now, the verse that we just read a few weeks ago, God tells us, "You shall be holy because I am holy." And the medrash says, there's a parable that the people of in his in his kingdom made three crowns for the king. What did the king do? He put on only one crown. One of the crowns he put on his head, and two of the crowns on the heads of his sons. Similarly, every single day, the supernal ones crown the Holy One, blessed be He, with three, and here we call it kedushas. They laud God by saying He's holy. We're familiar with this term. It's of course a reference to what we say in the kedusha, kadosh, 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 kodesh, kodesh, kodesh. That God is holy, 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 three times. Ma HaKadosh Baruch Hu says. So, what does God do with these three crowns of holiness. Noisim b'reish yachas, he puts one on his own head, u'shtayim b'reish shel bonov, and two on the head of his sons, of his children. Harehu d'chsiv. This is what it says in the verse. Daber al kol adas b'nei Yisrael kedeishim tihiyu. That, right? It says that God is holy, and now God says to the Jewish people, "You shall be holy." V'yiskadishtem v'hiyisem kedoishim. Sanctify yourselves, and you shall be holy. So, similarly, the supernal ones crown the Holy One, blessed be He, with three holinesses. Kodesh, 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 Hashem Tzvokes. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. What does God do? He takes one of these three of the Kodesh, of holiness, for himself. Shenema ki Kodesh ani, like it says, because I am Kodesh. V'shtayim noisim b'reisham shel bonav eli Yisrael. Two of them he puts on the heads of his children. That's Israel. Shenema v'skadishtem v'hisem kedeshim. You shall sanctify yourselves and be holy. That's another 2 times of this word Kodesh. So he takes one and gives us the other 2. But we still have to understand. We're a little bewildered here still. Here in the Medrash it says that the supernal ones crown God. So that means that the crowning of the Holy One, blessed be He, is through the angels. But this Medrash that we started with here, on the verse of go out and see, it seems that Israelites crown the Holy One, blessed be He. In other words, not the angels, but the Israelites. And that's the crown that his mother did. His mother is a reference to Knesset Yisrael. Dafka specifically. So who crowns God? The angels or the Jewish people? We also have to understand, what is this reference to? The crown that his mother crowned him on the day of his wedding. The day of the wedding is a reference to the giving of the Torah. Why is this specifically connected to the giving of the Torah? Is it not that each and every day we crown the Holy One, blessed be He, with three holinesses? And also that the response that the Medrash says, that God says to us that you should be holy, you should sanctify yourselves and be holy, because I am holy. That's a command. It's a commandment, an obligation, on every individual, every single day. Why is this referring to specifically the day of the wedding, which is the time of the giving of the Torah? Here's the crux of the explanation. We also find in the Talmud, the sages tell us, the angels of service do not say their praise for God in the supernal realms until Israel gives their praise in the lower realms. Shenemar, like it says, this is a verse in Job. It says, all the stars of the morning sang together, and that's a reference to the Jewish people who are compared to the stars. V'hodar, and afterwards it says, the last part of the verse, Vayariu kol b'nei Elikim, all of the children of God shouted out, lauded in great praise, evoking and awakening in a great lauding, so to speak. So the stars of the morning are Israel that are compared to stars. After they're singing together. Then the children of God, so to speak, that's a reference to the angels. So it comes out from this dictum of the sages that even the fact that the supernal ones, the angels, when they crown the Holy One, blessed be He, that's also dependent on Israelites specifically, that we have to go first. Tam Hadover Yuvan Alpi Mashom Razal. We can understand this according to another Talmudic explanation there in the Gemara. It says, Chaviv in Yisrael if Ne'akadosh Baruch Hu Yesem Malachei Shoros. Israelites are more dear to the Holy One, blessed be He, more than the angels who serve. Yisrael mazkirin es Hashem achar shtei teves, and the Talmud goes on to say, well, how do you see this? Because we mention God's name after we say two words, right? This is a reference to Shenema, like it says in the verse, Shema Yisrael, hear, O Israel, Hashem. That's already God's name. Two words, and then God's name. The angels takes them a little longer. They don't mention God's name till after three words, because they say like their verse, Kodesh, Kodesh, Kodesh. They have to first say three times holy, 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 V'goymer, etc. And then it says Kadosh, 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 Hashem. Again, it's God's name. So from this it comes out that just like the angels who serve say praise to God, they sing, and their song and praise is Kadosh. We also say praise to God. The praise of the Jewish of the Israelites is Hear, O Israel, Shema Yisrael. So what's the difference between the angels of service and the Israelites? The angels mention God's name after three words. And Israel mentions God's name after two words. So this is what it means when the verse says that the stars of the morning sang together, and afterwards it says that the children of God also praise enthusiastically, because there is an advantage of the service of Israel over the service of the angels. Therefore, it's only possible for the angels to give their praise after the praise of Israel. So from this we can understand that the crowning, that the supernal ones crown the Holy One, blessed be He, when they say Kaddish three times, is called the crown that his mother crowned him, Knesset Yisrael. It's a reference to what the Jewish people did. Why? If they're putting it on, if the angels are putting it on, because they can't do it till we do what we have to do. They could only give their crown after we gave our crown. So the angels can only praise God after Israel says their song of praise. So therefore it comes out that crowning is also through the Israelites, who are referred to as his mother. Now we can understand that which it says on the crown, that his mother crowned him on the day of his wedding. That's the reference to the giving of the Torah. The crowning happens through the praise of the Israelites here in the lower realms. When they say Shema Yisrael v'Omer Azal, here comes another medrash. From where did we even merit to have the Shema? Mimatan Torah, from the giving of Torah. It's a very interesting medrash coming up here. So hang on and listen. Mimatan Torah Zoch Yisrael likres Shema. From the giving of the Torah, Israel merited to read the Shema. Ketzad, how? At Moitza, you find Loi Pasach HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'sinat tchila el b'davar zeh. God did not begin at the Holy One, blessed be He, didn't begin at Sinai in the first place except with this thing. Amar lahem he said to them, and look what the Medrash says, Shema Yisrael, Anoichi Hashem Elekecha. Hear Israel, hear H-E-A-R, listen Israel, I am the Lord your God. Okay, now if we read the text of the Ten Commandments, it just says it begins with Anoichi. And some of the commentaries comment that in the Tilim, Kapitel Pei Aleph, like we say in the Shir Shal Yom, Shema Yisrael Va'ida, listen and I will testify for you. So that's a little bit of a reference to what this Medrash is. This Medrash is maybe referring to that too. So God says, I am the Lord your God. Now when he said, Shema Yisrael, Nenu Kulam V'omru, Havaya Lekenu V'ayachad. And then when God said, hear Israel, so the Jewish people answered by saying, the Lord our God, the Lord is the one and only. Which means, the first thing God said is, hear Israel, and then he says, I am the Lord your God, right? So what did they answer? The Lord our God, the Lord is one. So that's an answer, and it's a receiving, it's an acceptance. It's an acceptance of, sorry about that. It's an acceptance of this that God said. It's an acceptance of what God said, that I am the Lord your God. So Amlam Shvaisrael Anecha Ve'Elkecha Nenu Kulam V'Amam V'Ayakina V'Elchad V'Hainu Da Hashem Lekenu Hu Amayna V'Kibul Al Hadibur Anecha Ve'Elkecha V'Havaya Echad Hu Amayna V'Kibul Al Hadibur L'Yiyeh L'O. So when they say Hashem Lekenu, that's the acceptance of the first commandment, that I am the Lord your God. Then they say that the Lord is one, Hashem Echad, that's an acceptance of the second commandment, L'Yiyeh L'O. Do not have any other beside me. When it says the Lord is one, that's the mitzvah of having one God. That's how we fulfill the not having any other gods, right? And remember that those two were given together. So that means that all four words, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, is an acceptance of I am the Lord your God, and you shall not have any others besides me. And that's the whole Indian, that's the whole general thing of all the Torah together. That's what the whole Torah was given about. That's what we heard, only the first two commandments of I am the Lord your God, and you shall not have any others besides me. Only that we heard straight from God's mouth. To the extent that they are actually all said, it says, even at one time in one way. They were said together, and we were able to hear that, like the various midrashim explain. Why? Because that's the whole general idea of the whole Torah. Once you accept God, everything comes along with that. So therefore we have to understand that this crowning, the crowning that his mother crowned him, has to be on the day of the wedding, specifically the day of the giving of the Torah. That's the whole general acceptance of everything. And the crowning happened through through God saying, "Hey, listen, Israel, Yisrael," and then the crowning that we do is also through our saying Shema Yisrael, the song of Israel, which then brings the reciprocity of the angels, that they also are able to praise God, and they crown God with the three holinesses. And where did we get the Shema from? Where did we merit Shema? The Shema Torah, like it says at the time of Matan Torah. So we got the Shema from here. Then from us we saying Shema, the angels can say Kodesh. So then this is all one. We come full circle here. But the Rebbe says it's still not understood. Why did we need the angels? Why did Israel need the angels? Why couldn't the Jewish people just say three times to themselves, Kodesh, 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 and God will get everything? And for that Here's the issue. The idea of praising God with through the Jewish people is when they are a soul in a physical body, the way we are on this earth. So we are unique. We are the reason of creation, the challenge of creation, but we're very physical. So we're a soul in a body. In this lowest realm, there's nothing lower. Indeed, that's the fulfillment of the true purpose of creation, of the intent of the creation, to make for God a dwelling place in the lowest realm. Through Israel being souls and bodies, and this walking the earth on this lowest realm. And like it says specifically that God lusts and wants for our input, the work of your hands. And since we have to be in this lowest realm, the speech and the sound of a person is physical. Therefore it has to be refined and clarified and refined. This happens through the angels. Like the Zohar says, Gofif lohin menashik lohin, shehamalachim mechadkim umenashkim es tevis atfilah. So the Zohar says that the angels, when we say the words of the prayer, they hug it and they kiss it. They hug and they kiss the words of the prayer. This is the idea of polishing. Just like you would polish a glass vessel, like clean a choshes, or a copper vessel, so that it should be clear and bright and shiny. This is also that which it says in the sages. There's an angel referred to by that, and he bonds crowns to his creator from the prayers of Israel. What's the crown made up of? Of the prayers of Israel. And what is the task of that angel Matat? He bonds these crowns. This is that the angels shine and polish the words of the prayer. They should be pure and shiny and luminous. And even in more detail, this refinement and this polishing also happens through what the souls of Israel do, serving God. That's the idea of the counting. Like it says, you shall count on the morrow of the Sabbath. Shavuos says 7 weeks. That's the reference to counting the Omer on the second day of Pesach. That this is the introduction and the preparation and getting ready for the day of their wedding, which is the reference to the giving of the Torah. As it's explained many places in his Bar Leib with the Rebbe also said it in the Maimer that year, when the Rebbe said the Maimer 40 years ago on Shavuos. That year Shabbos was Erev Shavuos. So on that Shabbos, the Rebbe said that Maimer. That's what I mentioned earlier. The Bli Neder will try to record that also. We learned it on Shabbos. She'inyan hasvira hu loshen behirus. The counting is also the idea of the word usfartem. There are many words. There are several words that could mean counting in the Holy Tongue, but the word that's chosen here is usfartem because it's like sapphire, which is a sapphire stone, which is shining, bright, brilliance. Kamei Evan sapphire, like the sapphire stone. So that's the word that's used here. And like it's referred to again in the Zohar, that we shine and illuminate and make sparkle. That's the idea of of polishing, that the service that we serve God should be like a clear, pure vessel, and brilliant and shining. Like Rabbi Menachem says, you can take this to the bank. That was, as you could say in the square bracket here. This is also here a connection to the idea of the mitzvah of saying the Shema, which Israel merited to at the giving of the Torah. Why? Because the obligation to say Shema is daily, every single day, and twice a day, also at night. In other words, we have to say Shema at night and in the morning. This also alludes to the fact that here, in the lower realm, the service is to refine the darkness. That's because that's why we have to say Shema at night. To the ultimate of serving God, the transformation of darkness into light. Nevertheless, since this serving God is still when we are carnal and physical and material beings, yes, there's a necessity to have help also from the angels. Assistance from the angels. Therefore, also regarding the 3 crowns of the giving of the Torah, which comes after the ultimate of the serving God with the counting of the Omer, we still have this idea that it's the supernal ones, the angels, who have to put the crown down. And this is also then stressed in that other medrash that it says that God gets the 3 crowns. So what does he do? He gives 2 of those crowns to his on the head of his children. This is not the same crowns that we speak about that the angels gave us, right? But wait a minute, this is like the dictum of the sages that the angels came and gave us 2 crowns. It's the same idea. One corresponding to the fact that we said we will do everything and then we will hear. We will learn about it. But first, our acceptance to do. Dalit. The general revelation of the giving of the Torah the first time. From the fact that the Israelites proceeded, first of all, they accepted. They first got ready for the giving of the Torah, the counting of the Omer, and then they proceeded. Nasa to Nishma, we'll do before we will hear. Yesh negam b'chol shana v'shana. Listen what the Rebbe says. We have this each and every year. We have this power and this inspiration and this strength every single year, and it's there available for the taking. And we have to inspire ourselves and strengthen ourselves. Like the Rebbe quotes from Gilus Esther, but it's also explained in this Svarim. You can see it in Hora 37. That these days are reenacted, redone. They are not only recalled, but they are actually done in practice. Through this, that the things that happen in these days are recalled, as they should be, with the proper, not only remembering them and recalling them according to Torah Sams, the true Torah, as a chayzim v'nasim kol hamshachas. Then once again it's reiterated and we experience once more everything that flows and is all drawn down to us. It actually becomes part of us in an actual sense. Ha'asiyah shebe'elam ha'asiyah ad laha'asiyah shebe'asiyah be'elam hazat tachon shein tachon l'mata imenu. And all this strength and power comes and flows down in an actual sense in the world of action to action of action in this lowest world that there's nothing lower than it. And that's where we have to make the dwelling for God through the performance of mitzvahs, the study of Torah. This is specifically connected to the giving of the Torah. after the giving of the Torah, then we know the exact will of God through the ruling of the halacha, of what the halachic ruling is. In other words, how you have to do the mitzvah, which is in Torah. That's the idea of we will do is even more than the nishma of learning about it. Ki nishmahim lashon avona. We will hear, it comes from the same terminology as understanding, right? Learning about it. From this you can have a discussion, a back and forth, a give and take, and differences of opinion, and their opinions aren't the same. But when we say when it's how it's done, there's only one way. That's the ruling of how it's done. So the discussion of how the ruling should be, that comes, there's a lot. But the way it's done, that's the revelation of the supernal will. This is why it says that God is with him, the halacha is like him, meaning that's the Gili Shem Havai, that's the revelation of God's name, when the way it is in halacha, the ruling. And through this we're able to then come to do like the original intent and will, the supernal will, and then we come also to the master of the will, to God himself, like we said in the earlier mimer. This happens through the halachic rulings here in the lower world specifically. More than that, not just that these days are reenacted and redone and re-experienced each and every year. Listen what the Rebbe says here. Each and every year it's stronger than the year before. So this year in 5,785 it's stronger than 5,765 and 45 and 25 and 05, etc., etc. Every year it gets stronger and stronger. And the Rebbe brings the proof, something similar to what we have on Rosh Hashanah. But here the Rebbe says that it's regarding everything. We get a Sakedesh, like it says in the Tanya, in the Holy Letter. Regarding Rosh Hashanah, it says each and every year a supernal light comes down, a new one, brand new supernal light, which never illuminated from the time of creation. It has yet been here, and it's such a supernal, and this lofty light, it comes from a higher place every single year. There was never such a lofty light like this year's light, and every year on Rosh Hashanah we get a higher one. The Rebbe says the same thing about Shavuos. And that's why the sages told us that it has to be new. Since this is a command in the Torah of truth, that's the way the truth is. That's the fact. The mitzvahs are brand new, actually so. Why is it brand new? Because there's this new light, this new luminous light, that's supernal light, that's brand new, never illuminated here yet. And now we just got it. Therefore, this is a preparation, an imminent preparation, el hagili delosi, to the revelation of the future, love, which is to come. Then it will be brand new in her whole, totally new way that we could actually see it. Like it says the Medrash, that the God says, new Torah will come, issue forth from me, in the truthful redemption through our righteous Mashiach. And regarding this revelation of the future to come, we learned in Tanya, this is in chapter 36 too, there was something like it, similar to this, at the time of the giving of the Torah. Then it was only just something like it. And afterwards, at the time of Purim, they ratified what they what they had already received and accepted at the time of the giving of the Torah, and then was rescinded the great statement about the Torah. Remember, we learned about this earlier in our mimer several months ago, that the Talmud says that God held the mountain over them like a barrel and said, if you accept it, it's good. If not, you're going to... So that basically they were forced. And by Purim, they actually they accepted it on their own accord, not by being forced. So Ayidei Siddish Nefesh B'Zman Hanes de Purim, according to the because of the self-sacrifice that they had at the miracle of Purim. Now look what the Rebbe says here. Take this as take our strength. We need this today like we always needed it. And the Rebbe was talking about it then in 1985. And a lot of the Fabrengnischen, but here the Rebbe says it also in the Maimer, that this also comes through the self-sacrifice that we have in this very time now. It says in the beginning of the Shulchan Aruch, the Ramah says it, do not be embarrassed from those that are make fun of you and are laughing at you. That's the primary self-sacrifice of this time. That everybody, the Joneses do everything one way, and we do things like we're supposed to do, like what God says, and we don't care, and it doesn't matter what people scoff at you, etc. Even though now we have an abundance. To the extent that the nations of the world help out and they assist in Torah study and fulfilling the mitzvahs, and like the prophecy says in Isaiah 49 that the kings will be your nurses and the officers will be wet nurses. In other words, they'll be helping you with whatever you need. Together with this, nevertheless, they're the peoples who scoff at Israel and laugh at Israel. And like it says actually in the Akdomis, which is just a side bar here, side note, that it says that it's not the custom of Chabad to say the Akdomis, but nevertheless, that's in a certain sense, but in practice, we saw how Rebbe did say Akdomis. This is the poem before the Torah reading on the first day of Shavuos. The Rebbe said it throughout the Torah reading between the Aliyahs, etc. In the piece that starts with Torah and Muskanshin, it says the peoples and the nations are wondering and they're asking to Israel, what is this great love that is for you? That you have also, that you got the Torah, and that you this great love that you have, the connection to God with Torah. She said, that's based on that which it says in the Song of Songs, chapter 5. What is special about your love from the love of all women? In other words, what's unique about the relationship between God and the Jewish people? The Medrash says, and the Rashi there comments in the Shir Hashirim, chapter 5 there, what's so special about your God from all the gods that you'll burn yourself and get and you'll be hung for it, etc. You're willing to give your life for this. What's so special about this relationship? Nevertheless, we stay with self-sacrifice. Israel stands with self-sacrifice and not being embarrassed from and not being discouraged from those that scoff and laugh out, to the extent that we transform this scoffing of the nations of the world. And as they through this people scoff and laugh, we come to the ultimate of serving God with greater strength and greater power. Like King David, he wasn't affected by the scoffing. You remember the story that his wife Michal, the daughter of Shaul, was looking out when he was dancing with great fervor and jumping up and down when they were bringing the ark. And she said he was dancing like just a plain simple person. He was jumping and dancing with all his might. And by the way, in the Fabrengen, the Rebbe spoke earlier about this before he even said the Maimer, and he said that here it comes time of Yom Tif. A person has to actually be happy, and you shouldn't be somebody that says, well, if I'm going to be happy and I'm going to be dancing on Yom Tif because you have to be happy, then I'm going to be taking away time from my Torah study and my serving God in a more serious way. And the Rebbe says, no. The Torah has to affect you in the most physical way, the physical world. And even if you think you're a big tzaddik and you're a big Torah scholar and you're big this, nevertheless, you have to actually rejoice in a joyous way. And after that sikha there, the Rebbe was very joyous in the Fabrengen. So So it has to actually permeate us in our physical sense. Like days of Boim Nushleimus as Simcha, you come to the ultimate of joy, but even the phases of Macharcha, B'chol Eis, Shatir Lasid Love, and this will bring about to the ultimate of happiness and rejoicing, which will happen to the true jumping and dancing and rejoicing with all the might, which will be in the future to come, when Mashiach's coming. And like generally speaking, everything that we serve God all the time of the Golos. But Frati speaks of the Mashiach, and especially at the heels of Mashiach, right before Mashiach comes. Like it says in Egypt, as the more that the word Yana, so it could be torture, and it could also be persecuted, etc. So that's it. I'm looking for we call it harassment and persecution, and yeah. So we say sometimes that a person was what's the word I'm looking for when someone some type of harassment. Let's just say. I'm looking for another word anyway. So also they were multiplied and increased. Going from strength to strength. Like it says, grow from strength to strength. And that was the Tilim of the Rebbe of that year. And it being in its ultimate, like it says in the fulfillment of the end of that verse, be seen and appear to God in Zion. That's the revelation of Tzion, which means the marked in the one which is marked off, the special one, which is in the soul. That's the highest level of the soul. Till you mean to be seen and to appear. And God appears in Zion in its simplest fashion, literally, which will happen in the truthful redemption through our righteous Mashiach, to the redemption we will go with our youth and our elderly, and with our sons and our daughters, just like at the giving of the Torah, the Talmud tells us, and the Medrash says, that everyone was complete, everyone was healed, everyone who was sick was healed, and everyone who was present. From the heads of the tribes to the wood choppers and the water carriers, the water drawers, the whole world was complete, will be complete, like at the giving of the Torah Medrash. Like it says in the Medrash that the sound of the giving of the Torah was pristine, it was heard in the whole world, and it was in surround sound. The whole world, the sound went out and said, I am the Lord your God. And they will have the complete, ultimate of these crowns that the people of the kingdom make for the king. That the whole kingdom will be complete. This is the ultimate of the having the dwelling place of God in the lower realm, that everything is a godly place. We build for God a building and a home and a house. And the whole kingdom is built, which is the opposite of the situation of the kingdom is in ruins and destruction, heaven forbid. Like it says in the Medrash on the verse and of chapter 90, the prayer by Moses, the man of God. Three people came to take a gift from the king. The third one, the third one, God says, the first two, he says, what they want to ask for forgiveness, and God gave it, etc. So the third one, he says, what do you want? I don't need anything for myself. I'm not asking for myself anything. But this in this place, this in this part of your kingdom, which is desolate and in ruins and in a state of destruction, but it belongs to you. You decree that it should be rebuilt. This is a great crown for you to do. This is a parable about Moses. Moses came, God asks him, Matam Vakish, what are you requesting? I'm not requesting anything for myself, I'm asking only for Israel. So God tells him, yes, this is a great crown for you. Included in this is the rebuilding of Israel, literally. The land which the eyes of God are upon from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And they're specifically in a rebuilt Jerusalem. Jerusalem, the holy city, Kiryas Melech Rav, the Kiryah, the special village of the great king, and Kiryah is more than that; it's the dwelling place of the city. And they're specifically in the holy mountain, Beis Hamikdash in the holy temple, there was the continuous, consistent revelation of the glory of God. In the future to come, all this is going to spread in the whole world. Like it says in the Medrash in Yalkut Shimoni, that when Mashiach comes, that the land of Israel will really spread forth that holiness into the whole world, and Jerusalem will spread forth into the whole what's Eretz Yisrael, what is Israel now. Like it says in the prophecy in Isaiah 40, the glory of God will be revealed, and all flesh will be able to see together that it's the mouth of God that speaks. That'll be the revelation of the fact of the one who does the creation in that which is created, to the one who affects everything in that which is affected. You'll be able to see in a revealed sense the power of the Creator, and that it's there continuously, like we just learned in the Tanya. B'meheid of Yameinu Mamish, speedily in our days, actually so. Chaim.